So today we are looking at SBCs. There is a lot for Thunderstruck, and this is kind of your final chance now to grind out as many as possible. So we're going to go over absolutely everything, what you should complete, what you shouldn't complete. And really, is there any kind of reason why you shouldn't? Also, if you want to check in the description, I am going to be trying to put a Discord together, so if you want to click that link, hopefully it'll be there by the time the video is live. If not, check back, but it should be hopefully there at the very minimum, and we're going to try and get something together for a Discord. But moving on to the SBCs in general. So if you're looking for coins, head over to eldorado.gg. There is huge amounts of verified sellers on Eldorado, and there is a money back guaranteed by TradeShield. If that's not enough, there is 24/7 live support and also plenty of reviews across websites that will definitely put your mind at ease. And as always, before you check out, make sure that you are using the code JT11 for 5% off every single order. Back to the video. Now, with a lot of them, we are looking at the upgrade side of stuff. So, for instance, we are looking at a lot of the base hero upgrade, the icons from the base to the 91, the 89. We've got 77 player picks. We've got SBCs you can do 3 times every day for the next kind of 5 to something or so hours. Remember, things finish, I believe, at 2 p.m, or at least that's when they should be finishing. They might have like a certain level of kind of like they finished at like 3, 4, 5, but we will go over them all. Now, an easy one to go into this to start with is going to be your League SBCs. Now, in terms of cost for these, they're pretty much the same as they always were. They're not necessarily too expensive. These are going to be the staple of kind of right now and also in the future. So at the moment, we're looking at 20,000 for the Premium Mixed League upgrade, and we're looking at 10,000 for the normal Mixed League upgrade. I will always say these are phenomenal value if you want to grind them. I'm not saying they're fun, I'm not saying they're quick, and I'm also not saying that you're going to get crazy rewards from it. But in general, as a easy way to grind out the game whilst we have no content, and we're talking after Thunderstruck, these are going to be always there. So they are definitely worth looking at a minimum. Now, during Thunderstruck, I'd probably say no. I'd probably say don't complete these, because realistically, we don't get that much time to be able, well, I mean, to be honest, we do get time, but we personally don't get time. Unless you're on this game quite literally 18 hours a day, you're not going to be able to complete everything and then sit there and grind a fair few hours of League SBCs. It's just impossible at this point. So I do think as a SBC that will be there, 100% well worth doing. Even with the fact it's got 3 days left, it will obviously come back. We also then have the campaign mix player pick. I absolutely love this SBC. There is a lot of good value that you can get. There's also a hell of a lot of kind of rubbish you get, but I've seen from a lot of people a solid amount from it. I must admit, I've been most definitely been seeing a good amount of stuff. So I do think that is a must complete, especially now we are into the player pick side of it rather than just an upgrade. We now have 3 different choices you can go for. 34,000. We get it basically every kind of few days. Normally you get a repeatable side, and they are making it higher rated, and then also going to make it potentially cheaper or more expensive if they add in certain promos. We've got this last year, but we used to get it kind of later on in the game as like your year in review pick. We got them very sporadically, whereas this time round they're giving us one like pretty much from the get-go, which I'm absolutely all for. We also then have the hero pick. So this is where you've kind of got to strap in a little bit, because we have the 86 plus, we have a normal upgrade. So if we look at them here, we have the 86 at the start, 54,000. Fantastic. We then have the base hero upgrade, which is going to be everybody, 38,000. We also then have the base 1 of 2 player pick, 81,000. Now, personally for me, you've got to always do your due diligence with this, because you kind of got to see where the heroes are coming from, what rating they are, and are they worth it. Now, pretty much in terms of expense, we're looking at kind of this. The cheapest, middle, most expensive. All of them within a 20k budget between them. But if you do go over to Fudbin and have a look at heroes in general, what you want to do is have a look at the rating, and you think, okay, well, the top rating we can get is pretty much just 89. It's the bog standard. If you look at the lowest, if we go by rating, you will see we've got 85. So if we was to do the 86 upgrade, we miss out on all of these. And there is a couple of good ones, but nothing crazy. Like we're missing out a Barbo, we're missing out Javinho, then Alwaran's obviously 85, Dumbia's 85. Bar from that, that is going to be everybody. So we're missing out what? 10 or so heroes. There's a possibility of about 70 plus. So already you're thinking, okay, well, that's not crazy. Then obviously we look at kind of like the cheaper ones and you think there is so many cheaper ones now, it's absolutely unreal. So that's where you kind of then go to the price of it. Are we looking at a solid price? Now, the top one we can get at the minute is normally between Ginola and Yap Stam. We then have Lucio, we have Hazard and Di Natale, who are both in an SBC. We will talk about that. Yaya Toure at 480, Ramirez at 440. So it does go down quite a lot. But if we keep going down, you can see in one page of Footbin, there is 30 cards. Before we get to 30 cards, so roughly at about 25, I would say, and then if you're missing the 85, you are hitting the value of what the highest SBC costs. So for me personally, I don't think the heroes are worth it as much. I do think that they are good SBCs. Some of them are really nice and low cost. But in terms of what you potentially can get back, it's always going to be a little bit lower. And it just is what it is. And it's why sometimes the Gamble SBCs can be worth the very first one because players' prices are a little bit more expensive. Whereas now we're kind of looking at it and thinking, well, I could go and do a lot of players from it. I could then go grind a Hazard and Di Natale instead. Or you could sit there and if you're going to willing to pay 500k worth of fodder, you could potentially go and do, 10 of these upgrades and hopefully get one of them. And there's a chance. There is most definitely a chance. But realistically, we know that the weight on these are set to an absolute minimal. You're going to find I'd love to see like somebody doing like 1,000 of them and seeing what the sort of level of percentage we get X amount of players, and that'd be great for the base icon as well. Now, obviously, the base hero upgrade, it is cheap, it is nice, 84 and 85s, they're not really utilized as much, but in terms of kind of what you're going to get back, there is a lot of players under that value, so it's kind of one of them. I think that would be kind of my low cost. The player pick, I personally just wouldn't do, as much as it will give you... In fact, would it be just okay value? It might even just be okay value. Like it's, if you've got fodder to put in and you don't want to do anything else, you don't want any of the players, you don't want any of the icons, but you've got like a full storage, fair enough. Like absolutely. I mean, I would definitely rather take the icons. There is still a chance of some massive ones, but realistically, I do get it. Like you don't have to give up 87s or 88s in that. It is a lot cheaper on that aspect in terms of your club value. Whereas giving up an 85 rated team isn't the worst in the world from it. So okay value at the absolute maximum, I'd probably say. Then if we kind of go from there, we have a lot more of the icon SBCs. Again, just a magnitude of upgrades that you can obviously go for. We have the base icon upgrade, which is absolutely everybody for 250. We then also have, I believe we're going to have to put them both in the same sort of category here. We have the max 91 base upgrade that is 168. And then we have the max 89 base at 150. I personally didn't put the 89 in there, as to be honest, it's just not worth it. I mean, if you're going to put 150k worth of fodder in there and not do the 91, it just makes no sense for me. It is definitely the difference between doing the base upgrade at 250 and then the 91 at 170. Now, obviously, in the 91, you're looking at like Ibra, you're looking at Hullet being the main ones, whereas obviously the base upgrade is pretty much just shy of 100k more, but you can get everybody. Maradona, Pele, R9, the whole works. You're getting absolutely everybody, but there is also a few icons, again, like the heroes. Even at a high rated, you are still seeing them as cheaper cards. We look at like a Burkamp, he's I think 91 on this. If you go further down, as you'll see, like you've got like 5 mil, 12 mil, the whole shebang, like obviously them going to be crazy price, but then Prince at 98. You then go further down, you see Anger at 109, even Yashin, to be honest, at 410. Great keeper, but everybody's looking at the million, 2 million, 3 million. That's just standard. But you've got to always remember there is, even at the higher rated, still a lot of low rated as well. And again, if you go for kind of your price in order of this, you'll be able to see the top. But the difference is, by the time we get to 30, we're still looking at 800k, but there is a lot more icons. You kind of see we've got up to 5 pages. So you got 30, 60, 90, 120. We have 124 icons in this. That is a lot of wiggle room to potentially get nothing. You go into the price on this, the lowest you're going to find. So really, if we're looking at what, 250 for the base upgrade or even 91, you are looking at 30 gone. Then if we were to go down one more, you're probably looking at about 50 to 55 under the value of what you can get. So nearly half. Pretty much bang on half, actually. You're probably going about, yeah, nearly 60 to get under the value of the max 91. But then if you are obviously looking for 250, you take another page and you're looking at what, 60, 66, 67, give or take. Again, that is pretty much half of the SBC, which is going to be on the better weight. That is where the gamble side of it comes into it. Now, for me personally, I think when we look at the max 91, I would possibly say that's now not worth doing. At 150k it's cheap, which is nice, but that will fizzle out like the max 89. It's going to be based on the base upgrade. Now, in terms of value, I don't think it's awful if you're not wanting to do any of these players. Like I've kind of had my head chewed off for the Carfu and Carlos Alberto debate. Them two cards are coming in at 875, and also then Alberto is coming in at 980. So they are two of the cards that you'd probably want from that base upgrade. And if we look at their SBC, it's at 560. I thought it was going to be more value. To be honest, I thought you were going to get that out at a price. They more than likely drop in level. So, for instance, they drop down to that 700k mark, and then fodder goes up with all of the SBCs out. I was wrong. I was totally wrong. Now you look at Alberto and Carfu and you think, well, I'm paying 560 worth of fodder for instance, if you go for Carlos Alberto, 980 worth of a player. Naturally, they will drop. Of course, he'll drop eventually, and you've got 2 weeks to grind him out. That's a phenomenal value. I will say it. I didn't think the value would kind of stay the level that it is, and I will absolutely say if you can grind two of them out, or grind them out to get one of them, they're absolutely worth it. I think both of them are fantastic. I would say Carlos Alberto is going to be my more favoured choice for the masses. Anticipate is an absolute gem of a playstyle plus. He can play the centre-back if you need him to. I don't see a bad thing with him, personally. Carfu, still phenomenal. Still a great value. I'm not a big fan of the Relentless on a right-back, but it's still 870. Still a very good right-back, and most definitely will be in the team for a considerable amount of time. So absolutely phenomenal. I can only hold my hands up with them two personally, as I thought I knew that the prices would drop a little bit, but clearly I was totally wrong. Now, looking at the rest of the upgrades, you've kind of got your 82 and 85 that are going to be sitting there for a while. I like the Team of the Week upgrade. If you can grind it out, I think it's absolutely worth everything. With the Team of the Weeks we need, if you are just slowly pumping stuff away, it's 6.4k. You are technically, if you were to buy it every single time, you are getting better value than just buying a Team of the Week off the market. At the moment, they're coming in anywhere from like 10.5 to 11k. For anybody. Now, if you get the 82, you could get somebody good from it. I'm not saying you will, but there is a chance of I don't know, has Mbappe not even got one yet? I know Haaland's obviously got one. I don't know, has Messi got a Team of the Week? Who's got a Team of the Week? Messi's got a Team of the Week, so there is chance of some players like that. Pateus is another one that's got a Team of the Week. There is always chance of that for 6.45k. Now, obviously, you've got 4k difference, absolutely worth every penny. And when you do look at the team that you can build, it is going to be 484s you need and an 83 rated squad. Realistically, with the 484s, you can put a lot of 81 and 82s in it. What it's suggesting is going for a lot of your commons. It's a perfect setup. Get rid of some commons, you keep your rares in your club for more upgrades, and a few 84s are very easy to come by. It's an absolute must SBC if you are trying to stock up, ready for Team of the Year, ready for any promo that requires a bunch of Team of the Weeks. And 84s and 83s are very rarely used after this Thunderstruck, because we get them every now and then in a campaign pick and maybe another gamble SBC. That's really all we use them for. So it's a great value of what you can actually utilize. We then have the 85 to 87. I will always say this is absolutely worth it for your fodder. Again, it's going to be a lot of kind of cheaper SBCs. The only problem is with it is you just got so much consistency with it. You can do it 5 times a day, every single day. It's just a lot. And unless you're buying it, it's just crazy. But for The cheaper side of stuff, just being able to grind it out when you've got extra amount of fodder putting in your club. It's an 83 rated team. It's very comfortable to do. 983s, 282s, make the 282s or whatever. I think we got... Oh, they've got 84s. So they've got 284s, 383s, the rest 82s with commons. It's a great value. It's an easy value to grind out. So if you can do that every single day, it's brilliant for your fodder choices. Now, I do understand not everybody's going to sit there grinding it 5 times a day, but in terms of an SBC, it is well worth it. Which then leaves us to a lot of these SBCs now that we're going to be losing today. So we've got, I'll run through them quickly because we want to get onto the players, as we've already been going 16 minutes. We've got the 1 of 377 player pick. Absolutely love everything, 100%. That's going into the top. Then we've obviously got the 1 of 384. Again, with this one specifically, for right now, it's great to have that value. It is 5 84s in an 83 rated team. You're going to put a lot of 81s and 80s in it. I would say it's a tough one because I think with the fact that it's only going to be available today, I would finish the rest of them. To be honest, I'd probably finish all of them today just because it's the last chance. Now, starting off on Friday, doing it every single day, because you were obviously then got a chance, like you do 5 of them now, then in a few hours you do another 5 and then another 5. It becomes a lot of fodder at this point. Looking at it as the final day that you can grind it out, I would say most of them are going to be worth doing. The 82 times 10 is an absolute must. I don't think there's any question there. The 1 of 3 80 plus player pick is great. The 85 upgrade is where I kind of draw the line with a lot of this. I do think this one for me was just a little bit out of touch. I would personally do it for an 83 rated team. The fact that you've got to give up literally 984s and 283s if you're doing it that way. Or, in fact, they're doing it this way. They're doing 1084s and 179. It clearly works in terms of AI. That's just a lot for 185. And it's great if you can obviously get more than an 85, but you've got to be happy with the lowest. And I don't think an 85 is crazy value. So I personally would just miss this one for what it's going to have on repercussions of other SBCs. Giving out 584 rated teams is a lot. Like that is a considerable amount. You've just got far too much to give out for that personally. Whereas like the 384s is going to be rares and commons. I think all of them are going to be worth it. When you look at them, you've got the 1 of 380 plus player pick, brilliant, 1082s, 384s. We then go further down into the 281s. That's obviously unlimited. For right now, that's fantastic. I will say you've obviously got to choose between the player picks and this, but whatever one you choose, I think is a good option you can get. Even the 3 of 1080 player pick is phenomenal. 383s, they're all going to be brilliant in this for right now. And we are going to lose all of them today, so be very wary that you are not going to be able to complete any more after this. We are going to get upgrades at 6 PM because it is Monday, so we more than likely will see an upgrade or two, maybe a player pick, maybe a 2 times 81. One of them will tend to come back unless they are doing something for Cyber Monday. They might bring out something brand new for the day and then a normal upgrade at some point. So that will be something we will see in the future. Now, that's all the SBCs. We've covered quite a lot because Thunderstruck is massive. We now have a lot of players, and we'll kind of run through them as quick as possible. Most of them, to be honest, pick for themselves, to be fair. So when we look at the player of the months, it's going to be roughly a lot of the same. You look at the likes of Embuemo, you look at Ahmad, you look at the Bundesliga striker, low cost, nice and affordable that you can grind out. I do think Zambo will put himself into this category as well. I would say personally, these two are the ones that I would most definitely look at. I know that this guy does have another card, so if you would prefer, not another card, an upgrade that you can obviously throw onto him in terms of an evolution. But if you just wanted to use the upgrade somewhere else and utilize this card, I can understand, and I think that is a smart way to go with him, personally anyway. Then obviously from there we look at, I think that's all the player of the months there. Let's have a look. So we've got the player of the months there. Then we obviously move on to our first icon pick, or is it base hero? So we do have the Cordoba, we have Abide Pele, and we have Hamshik, all at 200,000 coins. Personally, for me, I just think they are not necessarily it at this point. If you look at Hamsik, is coming in at 180. You then look at Bide Pele. They are all coming in at solid values. I think they're very close to obviously what we've got in terms of this SBC. You've got 240 for him. I would say it's personally an okay value at this point. You've got a lot of Evos now throwing in. I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a dud. I think the players are very good. You've got Cordoba as a solid centre-back. You've obviously got a Bide Pele that could play in that cam role, and I believe he's got left mid now. He normally can go wing or somewhere like that in previous versions on previous games, so maybe we could see a position change at some point with that Rapid, and Hamsik is an unbelievable cam. So they all offer that same level if you haven't got a star-studded player there already. We also then have got the likes of Drogba. We also have then Cannavaro and Raul. Now, in terms of SBC, for some reason, I cannot find it on Futbin. It's just not there. Or in fact, it was. If I click all, it does show up somewhere, but it's never on the players, which is just weird. So we've got, obviously, Carlos Alberto. But if we go further down, it is, I think it's on... oh, this is going to give me a... There we go. I knew it was going to give me a verification. So it should be on this third page. It is here. So we've got it at 371. Now, Drogba's obviously coming in at 325. We have got Cannavaro coming in at 430. I mean, that was a great player, again, like Cordoba, and Raul's coming in at 315. So realistically, you're looking at Cannavaro being the most expensive choice. Now, very much like Cordoba, a solid option if you want to go for it. I don't think it's a bad value. I would say it's kind of more along the lines of okay. I don't think it's crazy. I do think when you look at Carlos Alberto and Cafu, that's exceptional. And then we also have Di Natale and also Hazard. Now, a bit more expense. Obviously, you're looking at this SBC at 470 or 476. Now, these are kind of considered the premium of heroes. They may not be premium crazy in the game, but Hazard is 640, and Di Natale has got another version like Hazard at 537. So again, like Carlos Alberto and Cafu, more expensive than the SBC costs, which I think is always great value. Now, both of them I think are top in their field. Like left wing wise, Hazard's unbelievable. Really, you're kind of looking at like an upgraded Rafinha, you're looking at a Vinny, and then X amount of icons. Di Natale is a little bit more difficult because there is a lot of strikers, but he could still play that left wing as well. So there is definite roles that you can obviously go between them. Now, as an SBC point of view, I would go into the decent value. I think you've got a couple of extra 100k on top, especially of someone like Hazard. So that is going to be one that I think would be choosed a considerable amount of time. We then move back into normal players then. So these are kind of singular players that you can get. Obviously, we start off with Savinho. I don't think it's a bad value because he has got the chance to go up. Again, like with a lot of these, I don't know how well the pro does. They can have an off day, they can have an impeccable day. If they do manage to do incredible things and get as far as the final, that SBC is going to be paid for like absolutely every single time. Now, I don't think it's an absolute must complete. I think there's right wings out there, but it's at the very minimum a solid value if you want to grind them out. We also then have another player Moments coming in at a low cost. Same with Gabriel Silva. Great silver card, can go into an evolution, but 15,000 coins, it's going to cost you barely nothing. To be honest, same with the likes of Tagliafico. 42,000, great solid left back, can have the position or the roles added onto him. He can have playstyles added to him, and he can also have playstyle pluses added to him, or one playstyle plus. Because he doesn't have one, if they do manage, or Leon manage to get 10 goals in their next X amount of domestic games, he gets an upgrade of a playstyle plus. That is where the value really comes in for him. Now we do have Gyökeres. I know a lot of people had a big problem with this card at 250, no upgrade. It's a bit of a downgrade in my opinion. Like, I like the Rapid, I like the Enforcer Plus, I think both of them are phenomenal. I just think for an extra 240, is he really worth it? I just think they could have easily given him an 88 at the minimum. Like an upgrade of an overall at the absolute minimum, but unfortunately they didn't. I just would rather go with the gold. The Evos are coming. I would just stick with that rather than going for the 250. And failing that, he will get another card at some point soon. We also then have a brand new one in Nkunku, 86 rated, technical plus, solid card. He's got his dynamic, which everybody absolutely loves. He's kind of a medium value. He's a little bit more up on the good votes for him, and I think he's a very well-rounded card. So he's again another one. I don't know if I'd quite go must, but absolutely has got to be within the question. He's got to be up there at the very, very minimum. And that could be just because of his all-round. He has got cam, centre mid, left mid, and striker. So an incredible amount of positions that you can actually play with him. Coman, on my first glance, I really didn't fancy the card. Now, he can play CDM. I think that is the only position you will want to put him. At 360... the upgrades are minimal. Now, I did get Coman as an SBC from the Icon upgrade, so he's kind of not on my radar at this point. He's got the Dead Ball Plus in this one. Still not crazy, but I mean, Intercept is a lot better, but definitely as a CDM. So I'd probably stand by it. I just don't think he's worth it. I really think the card is just a little bit on the average side. We also then have Grace coming in her new Thunderstruck card, 72,000, cheap as chips, nice and affordable, and a very nice card. We loved her last year in her PSG version. She was always a solid midfielder that you could get, especially if you're looking for a French midfielder that's coming in a bit cheap. Fantastic value, absolutely up there. We then also have Pacho. Now, I really like the PSG team this year. Pacho obviously got a singular upgrade, 2 on the pace, 2 on the defending, 1 physical. I think he's solid. I would have liked to potentially have got the intercept on the playstyle at the minimum, if we could have, but he got a few. I think he'd be a solid value. I just think he could have been slightly better, with obviously a bit of a must. I think that could have been the option. Then obviously we have got Reeton. We will keep Torres for the final. Reeton's another one at 113. She's solid. Finesse shot plus, cam, left wing, left mid. You've obviously got the stats down to a T like most people. You'd throw the Hunter on her, 95 on the pace, 87 shooting. Phenomenal. 94 on the overall. Brilliant left wing. I'd actually say she's got to be an up there. She really does. For the price that you're paying as a left wing, it's as cheap as anything. You're not going to get much better on that left wing in the WSL at this point in time. But we do kind of then go on to Torres. Now, as a cost for him, remember with him specifically, he can get a playstyle upgrade. He can get 2 of them. He can get all the roles added, which he's already got the advanced forward plus. So whether that has too much of a difference is it just is what it is as such. Now, obviously, you can go into the details here and you can kind of see where they obviously will go. Obviously, with Torres, he is looking, I believe, at Liverpool, I believe. It doesn't actually say, but I'm pretty sure it's Liverpool. Promo potentials. It literally, I would have thought it would have said, but I'm gonna assume that it is obviously going to be. And we've got all of them here if you want to check them out. But Torres is obviously coming in with a little bit of an upgrade. Nothing too crazy. He can obviously, like I say, get the play styles, but he's got 1s on everything, 3 on the passing. He's a 1 upgrade, but he's gone into that low driven. Now, I do think Torres has had a massive upgrade from that base mid prime era into now just one of them. I think it's really helped Torres out. His prime was always incredible. His base was always good for the first month, and his mid was always lackluster. Now, I do think he comes in as a nice rating. The low driven, as we know, is exceptionally broken, and I think that is going to play into his strengths massively. So I do think for me, at the minimum, he's going to be decent value. At the maximum, is a potential must complete. I always liked him as a striker. The 4-4, the rapid, quick step as normal playstyles, chip shot, finesse, precision header, game changer, and low driven plus. It's a recipe worth success for him. So if you are struggling for a striker, he is definitely one I would 100% be looking at. And that's going to be the list for today. Let me know down below if you agree, disagree. Put it down below, and like I say, I will try and get a Discord running in the future, in the description. So definitely check that out as well. And I'll catch you all for that next one. Peace.